In this video I'm checking out what is left of the Pontin site in Prestatyn, North Wales. It closed in 2023 and was frequently regarded as one of the worst holiday parks in the UK. I'll also be looking into the history of Pontins and discussing whether or not the site will reopen in the future. But before that, did you know that 99% of the people who will watch this video won't subscribe? So I'd really appreciate it and be thankful if you could subscribe to the channel, leave this video a big thumbs up and share a comment down below in the comments if you have any thoughts on the video or Pontin's Prestatyn itself. Hello and welcome back to the channel, where I'm starting the video today in front of this sign here. It's pointing in that direction. We're going to head towards the site in a minute. I'm going to check out what is still there today. But as you can see, this sign here right behind me, it is looking a little bit rusty, a little bit abandoned, and this is going to be the theme throughout the video. The site is looking very run down. It's been closed for nearly 2 years now. Yeah, it's not looking the best. So I'm going to head over to the site now and we're going to check out what is left of Pontins in Prestatyn. So I've just come from over there. The sign was over in that direction, around about there. Over in this direction we do have the Prestatyn Golf Club. And as I turn the camera around here, we do have the old entrance to Pontins in Prestatyn. I must stress here that I'm not going to be going onto the site today. Obviously, it is a private property and I'm not going to trespass. However, as you can see there was the big long drive as you headed down, with another sign there, Pontins, the party for kids. You can also see the gates there with the big blue piece. Let me just zoom in for you. You can see the gates there. And to my right over here, hidden behind all of these bushes, we do have another sign. I'll show you this one first. Park is closed. This property is manned with 24-hour security and CCTV. Any trespassers will be prosecuted. So yeah, I'm a very good person. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, here is another sign, if I can get my words out. Yeah, as you can see, the site isn't looking the best. I'm going to get a few more close-up shots, but as you can see there were the two main complexes on site. You've got in the foreground the old swimming pool, and then behind that there you do have the main entertainment complex that was seen on holiday on the buses that I'm going to talk a little bit about later on in the video. But yeah, as you can see, you've got the playground as well in the front, and yeah, it's not looking the best. That canopy over there, well, the roof's missing. Where's it gone? It must have blown off. I think that blew off a few months back in some strong winds here. And yeah, you can see they've not kept it up. They're clearly not wanting to restore that bit, at least for the site. But yeah, I'm going to head round now. You can see over here, we've got a lot of the accommodation. It is all still standing, but we can get a little bit closer to all of that. So that's what I'm going to do now for you. And I've made my way down a little bit further along the path. It is a public path, so I can get here. I am just holding the camera above the fence. And we do have some of the old accommodation that was here for Pontins Prestatyn. And as you can see, it has remained more or less the same since it closed back in late 2023. But if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think any of this has changed since it opened back in the early 70s. Yeah, as you can see, it is looking very run down, but I think it was looking like that long before the site even shut. Yeah, you can see all the cladding. If I zoom in just there, yeah, you can see the cladding's fallen off. Yeah, it's not looking the best. If I'm being brutally honest, I can't believe people actually wanted to stay here. I get it, the price wasn't as expensive as other holiday parks, I'd say like a Butlins or a Haven. However, yeah, as you can see, I wouldn't want to stay in these, I'll be honest. You'd have to pay me to stay in a accommodation like this. Yeah, 2 floors of chalets. I'm going to head around the corner now. There is a few more, but yeah, this is what all of the accommodation looked like here. They didn't really look any different. It all looked like this, and it stayed that way for what? Over 50 years. Tell you what, we are very, very lucky here in North Wales to have the countryside that we do have. And I've come here away from the sea air, away from the camp, to talk to you a little about the history of Pontins and how it came to be. Now, the first Pontins holiday camp opened back in 1946, so after the war, and it was of course started by Fred Pontin. He was inspired by the holiday camp king, Billy Butlin, to open his holiday camps, and at the time they were a little bit lesser, shall we say, compared to his Butlin's cattle park. But he did, in later life, work with Billy Butlin, I believe, on one of their foreign exports. Yeah, they did become friends in later life, but after the start, they were rivals to one another after the post-war boom. Remember, Butlin started back in 1936 over in Skegness, and since then, it went on to become the biggest holiday camp chain in Britain. It had hotels, holiday camps, anything, amusement parks, you name it. Fred Pontin, he just set out originally with holiday camps, but he also went on to own some hotels and also some sites abroad known as Continental, a good play on words there. But yeah, he started at Breen Sands back in 1946, and the Prestatyn site here began its life in 1971. There was another holiday camp here in Prestatyn around about where the Pontin site was or is now. However, it was all demolished, and then what you see today, you still can see it in 50 years on from when it first opened. That was the original Pontins camp that Fred Pontin did open here. Now Pontins, probably its most famous asset would be the Bluecoats entertainers. Butlins, they had their red coats, so Pontins had their blue coats. And throughout the years, they did have quite a few famous names start their career at Pontins. Not at the Prestatyn side, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. People like Shane Ritchie, Brian Conley, Bradley Welsh, I've met all three of them. And also Lee Mack, they all started their comedic and entertainment journeys at Pontins. It was a good training ground back then for entertainers and stars of the future. But it wasn't only the Bluecoats that played their part in the entertainment history of Pontins, because back in 1973, 2 years after the site here in Prestatyn opened, the site's most famous moment happened, as it was the centre and the focal point for the film Holiday on the Buses. Do you remember the On the Buses films? Them and the Carry On films, they were absolute classics back in the day. I don't think you'd get away with them now. But yeah, Holiday on the Buses was filmed here at the Prestatyn camp. And up until a few years ago when the site did close, there was a plaque on the main gate that symbolised the fact that that did happen back in 1973. And I'll try and include a photo right here for you so you can see that and what it did look like. But yeah, the film, you can probably get it on YouTube, or if not, you can get it on a DVD probably for a couple of quid now. But yeah, quite a good film. And yeah, all of the buildings and everything that you do see more or less are still the same right now. As I have said throughout the video, a lot hasn't changed since the 70s. Been a couple of paint jobs, however, any paint jobs haven't been done in quite a while because yeah, they're looking very run down. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to head around the site again. We're going to see from the corner on the other side. We're going to look at more of the accommodation. I'm going to talk to you more about the future of the site, seeing what could come of Pontins Prestatyn in the future. Will it become another holiday park, or will it reopen as a Pontins? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm going to talk about that once I get around the corner. Now, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that these chalets you can see right below me down there, I believe that they are still in operation. I do believe you can still book them through the Beaches Hotel, which you can see right there behind me. The car park is in use, you can park there, it's a pay and display car park. Yeah, I believe that them chalets, I don't know if they're staff accommodation or they're used for holiday makers. Yeah, I believe that these are associated with the Beaches Hotel, which, as I did say, is right behind me right there, which is quite a nice hotel there on the seafront here in Prestatyn. So yeah, and all of the site is abandoned. I'm trying to get myself in, and the accommodation there as well. But yeah, everything behind it is of course abandoned. You can't access it, but you can access these from the seafront. And so I've moved around the corner and I've just gone past the cricket club. And yeah, as you can see, we're at the back of some of the chalets, some of the accommodation. As I did say, it all looks very similar, it all looks the same here at Pontins Prestatyn. I don't know if it picks up on camera, but you can see inside of a lot of the rooms, the windows and the curtains have been left open. And yeah, if you look inside, I don't think I can pick it up on camera, but there's a lot of doors open. It looks very, well, it's abandoned, obviously. Yeah, it doesn't look like they were kept well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the future of the site, what it entails, a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, a lot of work needs to be done if they want to get this place back up and running as an entertainment or a holiday destination, because all of this infrastructure, it is 50 years old now, and it wasn't looked after the best whilst it was still operating, which is a bit of a cause for concern, I'll be honest. But yeah, just have a look through there, you can see more. It's a lot of the same. I'm not going to bore you just showing you every single one, but yeah, just get a general view of all of the accommodation here that was at Pontins in Prestatyn. And yeah, look at that. I think I'll end on that for this clip. A smashed window. Yeah, if they want to get this back up and they're going to have to replace that, but yeah, I think that just shows how run down it's been over the years. Yeah, smashed window. Now, since the site closed back in late 2023, there has been a lot of talk about what is going to happen to the site right behind me. Now, at the moment, Pontins is owned by Britannia Hotels. They run all the Pontins that were open in the UK. I think a couple still remain, but under different names, but the rest of them are like this one right behind me. They're closed, abandoned, and nothing's happening to them. They also own quite a few hotels around the country. They do run the Grand Hotel on Llandudno Pier. That is still open, but yeah, they own a lot of different hotel and holiday camps around the country. They don't have any plans, they've said at the moment, to do anything with the site. However, Denbighshire County Council, obviously the local council for here in Prestatyn, have said that there has been talks. I use that word very lightly. Talks could just be saying, oh, well, we own the site, but we're not going to do anything with it. It could be as simple as that. But what Britannia do have is a 979-year lease on the site. Now, if my calculations are correct, and I'm not the best at maths, that takes us to 3004. Yes, the next millennium, they can own this site and do whatever they want with it. So if they want to keep it abandoned like they have now, they can do. Now, I don't think that is going to happen, I'll be honest. I do think probably by the end of this decade, we will see something with this site. There are a few options. They could reopen it with the chalets that they have got. I don't think that's the best idea, I'll be honest. I think they need knocking down and replacing with something new. They could also sell it off to another company. Who that could be, I really don't know, because a lot of the big ones now, like Haven and Parkdean, they mainly just do caravans. So would they knock all these down and put caravans there? I don't really know. And also Haven do have a site down the road in Prestatyn Sands. The other big one, of course, being Butlins. I don't think Butlins are going to do anything with this site, I'll be honest, because they've got, well, you have to go back to the 60s to find a time when they open new sites. I think the last one they opened was Barry Island back in 1966, and since then they have downsized massively. There is only 3 resorts now in Minehead, Skegness and Bognor. But yeah, what is the future of Pontins in Prestatyn? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. What would you like to see done? What would you do if you were in charge? Would you reopen it under the Pontins name? Or do you think it's time for them to move on and change it into something brand new? I'd love to know. But all I know is that, yeah, all of these chalets right behind me, they've got to go. They're not looking the best. They've not been upkept well. I just can't believe that people are actually staying here for what, 50 years? Like, you'd probably have to go back about 20 years when they were up to a somewhat high standard. They kept saying about 10 years ago, oh, it's the new Pontins and we're investing money, but clearly it wasn't. Because if you remember programs like Watch Dogs, remember that on the BBC? They did a show at one of the Pontins and the chalets looked awful, and the accommodation and the facilities and the entertainment, yeah, it wasn't kept to the best standard. Now, in recent years, one thing that Pontins was quite synonymous with was the awful TripAdvisor reviews. In the research for this video, I did go on TripAdvisor and had a look at what the reviews are looking like, and I can tell you that out of 205, 106 were 1-star terrible reviews, and I've got a few of them here. As time goes by, all the rooms are filled with mould and vomit, worse than a dog kennel. Months worth of dust all over the chalet and under the wardrobe. Cobwebs lingering in the corners of the bathroom. The sofa bed had weeks worth of stands stuck down the creases where it folded. And then I got 3 very short ones. Worst experience of my life. Book anywhere else. And beware, it really is as bad as the review suggests. Yeah, there were loads more back when the site was open. I think they've taken a lot of them down now. But yeah, if you go back about 5, 6, 7 years, I used to go on TripAdvisor, have a look at the reviews, and some of them were really, really funny. I've got to give it to them. But yeah, the site, it wasn't getting good reviews for the last, I'd say, 15, 20 years of its life. Yeah, now it's abandoned and closed. Tell you what though, I feel like a weatherman. I feel like I need to put a study with my iPad, reading off what I've got, stood with you with the camera. So there we go then, that is my little look around the site of Pontins here in Prestatyn as of the end of the July 2025, nearly 2 years after it was last open to holidaymakers. Having a look around the site, seeing what is left, and as we have seen, everything is left, but it's looking very abandoned, very run down, and I don't think it'll be too long before we see something happen to the site. I'll be honest, I think it's likely they'll all get demolished, or at least have a major upgrade. Millions of pounds needs to be spent on that site if they want to get it back open and running, open to holidaymakers. And you know what? I'd love that to happen because it's in a prime location in Prestatyn. I've been here today. Yes, the weather's not been great on the drive down from Wrexham. It was pouring it down. I got here and the rain stopped. I was very lucky in that sense. But yeah, it has been very quiet today here today. It is the school holidays now. It is July. And yeah, there's not a lot of people about. I'm going to head down towards Prestatyn, not Prestatyn, Rhyl, Tywyn and Llandudno in a little bit. I'm going to do the little drive that I do. I might do that video a little bit later on in the year, take you for a drive along the North Wales seafront, because I do absolutely love it here. Yeah, there's not a lot of people here, but I imagine they're all down in Tywyn, down in Rhyl, definitely down in Llandudno, because, well, you've seen Rhyl in a video earlier on in this year in the channel. But yeah, Llandudno, lovely part, so is Tywyn. It's getting on really well. But yeah, here in Prestatyn, you can tell it needs something like this. It needs a big holiday camp. They've got it here, but it needs to be open. It needs to have holidaymakers. They need to have fun. Yeah, hopefully at some point in the next decade we can see something happen to that site. But once again, let me know down below in the video comments, did you ever come to Pontins? Were you ever a Bluecoat here at Prestatyn or one of the other sites? I'd love to know. Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the video comments. But coming up next on the channel, I've got a few videos planned. I'm going abroad in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to tell you where, but I'm going to be doing a video there definitely. And then at the end of next month, end of August, I have got another holiday park. I said I wasn't going to do another Haven back in the Having a More video, but I'm going to another Haven at the end of August, so there'll be a video from there, a caravan and site tour. But I'll let you work out which Haven it is. It's one I haven't done yet. I'll let you work that out in the video comments. Once again, thank you very much indeed for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.